Alex, thank you for joining me today. It's thrilling to be able to hear firsthand about your extraordinary climbing feats. So let's start there. So the Free Solo documentary gave us a window into the kind of preparation that goes into a climb like yours. How do you prepare mentally for such an attempt?
There's short-term preparation and the probably more important long-term mental preparation. And the long term is the long, amount of time taken to prepare both physically and mentally just to know that I'm actually capable of doing something. The short-term preparation is kind of what I think people think of as the preparation, like the day before, like getting into the right headspace, feeling comfortable, feeling calm, things like that. But I think the long term is much more important, like making sure that I actually feel comfortable with the project that I'm taking on, like making sure that I'm capable of it.
Your ability to step outside of fear has earned you respect, but also curiosity from fellow climbers and even the medical community. And how do you deal with fear?
So the best way for me to deal with fear is to prepare to the point where it's just not that scary anymore. Because at a certain point, if you're comfortable with something, you can do it, then there's not that much to be afraid of. Naturally, fear often arises unexpectedly while trying different climbing challenges, and so then I have to deal with it the same way that anybody else does, which is taking some deep breaths, trying to calm myself, trying to keep my emotions under control. But the only truly effective way to manage fear is to broaden your comfort zone to the point that things just aren't that scary anymore.
Is fearlessness something then that can be learned just through doing things many different times?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not as if I don't experience fear. I mean, the things that I'm doing are quite scary. Like the idea of falling
Right.
off and dying is quite scary, and that's totally natural, and that's to be expected. But with enough time and preparation, you can get to the point where you feel quite comfortable with things, and then they cease to be as scary.
So let's switch topics for a minute here. And, climbing is obviously connected with the outdoors and with nature. And what are some of the effects of climate change that you've seen over the years?
A few obvious ones, like examples. I've gone to Patagonia for 4 different expeditions in southern Argentina, and to approach into the Torre Valley, which is a striking mountain range in Patagonia. You used to hike around the south side of this lake, but as this glacier has retreated, the lake has doubled in size, and now you approach around the north side of the lake just because, the shape and size of the lake are completely different. But then even more so, I mean, one of the trips to Patagonia, we went to go climb a fairly classic, fairly well-established ice route. And in the previous summer, the entire route had melted out and fallen off the mountain. And so when we showed up, there actually wasn't any ice anymore. It was still a natural sort of funnel for snow, so there was quite a bit of snow in the line, but there was no ice beneath it, and so it made it impossible to actually climb. So we retreated after a couple hundred feet. But there are also the more subtle things, like in Yosemite National Park. Huge swaths of the forest have died from beetle kill, and actually even more so in Colorado. I mean, I know, in Rocky Mountain National Park, you've had tremendous beetle kill, where it's not, but season by season, the forest just dies around you.
So, the documentary shows the role that personal relationships play in your life and questions whether close relationships hinder your ambitions. And now that you're married and expecting a child, how do close personal relationships really enhance your capabilities?
Well, I think that really the takeaway from the film Free Solo is that you can have close personal relationships while still pursuing your goals. I mean, the real takeaway from the film is that I was able to balance a healthy relationship while still achieving this dream climb of mine. In a lot of ways, having a healthy relationship really helps with those kinds of big projects because it makes your life so much more stable. I go to bed on time, I eat well. Like basically there's a lot of stability in my life in a really nice, healthy way. And so it allows me to put more energy into the big projects that I have.
You founded the Honnold Foundation in 2012 and have embarked on numerous other projects that really highlights the challenges of climate change. How can we all stay motivated for this important work when the challenges just seem never ending?
It's like this generation basically has to change virtually everything about the built human world, if we hope to prevent the worst effects of climate change. And I mean, that's a pretty big project. I mean, I think that what I would tell a young person is just to focus on the thing that they're most passionate about, because ideally you fall into something that you're excited to do every single day. If you're having a good time working on something day in and day out, it doesn't really matter how big the challenge is. I mean, you still just chip away at it slowly over time. I mean, it is remarkable how much you can do over 10 or 15 years of applied effort. It's like, I mean, as I'm sure you know, through a whole career in education.
Exactly.
And the whole LCAP project from beginning to end, sort of took me maybe 10 years of effort, which sounds like a lot, but in the grand scheme of an 80 or 90 year human life, I mean, it's not really that much. And, I mean, it is remarkable what you can achieve with some time and effort.
So Alex, what's next for you? Can we expect another big climb in the coming years?
Maybe, we'll see. So I'm having a daughter in February. So I'm intentionally trying to rein things in a little bit. But actually, I have a project next summer that's a National Geographic TV show centered around climate change in Greenland and also some climate exploration. So that's kind of my big project for next year. It's just hard for me to know what it will be like to have a daughter and what I'll be motivated to do. And so, I'll just see what I'm capable of next year.
Well, congratulations on becoming a father in the next few months. And Alex, I just want to thank you again for chatting with us, and good luck with your new endeavors.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I think it'll be the biggest adventure so far, but we'll see.
It will be. It will be. Well, take care now.
Cheers. Appreciate it.